the severance of delusions. Second, the clarification of severing delusions is divided into 4 sections. The delusions severed in the 4 teachings. The Tripitaka teaching. Question: which of these 3 categories of delusions are severed in the Hinayana Tripitaka teaching? Answer: the Tripitaka teaching utilizes the wisdom of analyzing dharmas and merely severs the first category of deluded views and attitudes. The delusions of the other 2 categories are not severed. Question: what is meant by severing deluded views and attitudes? Answer: those at the lower and higher levels of ordinary people both overcome deluded views and attitudes. Those at the level of the 4 causal and resultant stages of sagehood have severed these delusions. Question: what does it mean to sever delusions? Answer: at the causal and resultant stages of the stream winner, 88 deluded views and attitudes are severed. At the causal and resultant stages of the once returner, the first 6 of the 9 degrees of delusions in the realm of desire are severed. At the causal and resultant stages of the non-returner, the last 3 degrees of the 9 degrees of delusions in the realm of desire are severed. At the causal and resultant stages of the arhat, the 72 classes of deluded attitudes in the 2 superior realms of form and the formless are severed. Pratyeka Buddhas exhaustively sever the deluded views and attitudes of the 3 realms and overcome all their habitual propensities. The Bodhisattva practices the 6 perfections for 3 incalculable eons, sows the seeds for the 32 marks of a Buddha for 100 eons, and then, under the Bodhi tree, severs the active afflictions themselves and their habitual propensities. Question: concerning the 9 degrees of delusions in the realm of desire, how many degrees are severed? In order to lose what? Rebirths. Answer: the Abhidharma Kosabhasaya says, one becomes a wandering sage with 2 or 3 remaining rebirths upon severing the 3rd and 4th degrees in the realm of desire. One enters the causal stage of the once returner by severing the 5th degree. One attains the resultant stage of the once returner upon severing the 6th degree. Question: what is the meaning of this text? Answer: the interpretation is as follows. To sever the first 3 degrees means to lose 4 rebirths. 3 rebirths remain, which are fostered by the remaining 6 degrees of delusions. One in this state is called a wandering sage with 3 remaining rebirths. If one advances and severs the delusions of intensely moderate degree, another rebirth is lost. Together with the previous ones, this means the loss of 5 rebirths. 2 rebirths remain. One in this state is called a wandering sage with 2 rebirths. If one further severs the delusions of moderately moderate degree, 1 rebirth is not yet lost, and one is called a potential once-returner. If one further severs the delusions of mildly moderate degree, one has in general lost 6 rebirths, along with the previous severance of the delusions of moderately moderate degree. The remaining 3 delusions of mild degree foster 1 rebirth, so such a person is called a once-returner. Question: why is the one who has severed the 1st and 5th degrees not called a wandering sage? Answer: there is never anyone who severs the 2nd but not the 3rd degree of delusions before ending his life, and there is never one who severs the 5th but not the 6th degree of delusions before ending his life. Question: why is this so? Answer: when the sage initiates his great practice, it is certain that he will not fail to sever exhaustively the great degrees of delusions before his life is over. Also, there is not 1 degree that is able to obstruct this result. Therefore, one who has severed the 5th will certainly attain severance of the 6th. the severance of delusions and cultivation of enlightenment is explained in detail in the commentary, the Mohoji Kwan, so I shall abbreviate and not expand on it here. It is not that it is not explained. The shared teaching. Question: which delusions in the three categories are severed by the Mahayana shared teaching? Answer: the wisdom belonging to practitioners of this teaching, which comes from contemplating the essence of all dharmas as empty of substantial being, severs deluded views and attitudes, and also a small part of the minute delusions. But it does not yet sever the delusion of ignorance. Question: what does it mean to sever deluded views and attitudes and minute delusions? Answer: these are severed stage by stage in the 10 stages. Question: what are these 10 stages? Answer: 1. The stage of parched wisdom. 2. The stage of potential. 3. The stage of 8 endurances. 4. The stage of insight. 5. The stage of thinner delusions. 6. The stage of freedom from desires. 7. The stage of completion. 8. The stage of pratyeka Buddhahood. 9. The stage of bodhisattvahood. And 10. The stage of Buddhahood. Question: what delusions are severed on these 10 stages? Answer: the deluded views are overcome in the first stage of parched wisdom. This corresponds to the lower level of ordinary people. The deluded views are also overcome in the stage of potential. This corresponds to the higher level of ordinary people. The 88 afflictions are severed in the 2 stages of 8 personalities and insight. The 6 classes of deluded attitudes in the realm of desire are severed in the stage of thinner delusions. The 9 classes of deluded attitudes in the realm of desire are severed in the stage of freedom from desires. The 72 classes of deluded attitudes in the realm of form and formlessness are severed in the stage of conclusion. The active afflictions of the triple realm are severed and their habitual propensities removed in the stage of the Pratyeka Buddha. Both active afflictions and their habitual propensities, and also ignorance concerning the mental and physical realms, are severed in the stage of the Bodhisattva. Unlike those of the 2 vehicles, bodhisattvas arouse compassion and vow to benefit sentient beings. In the stage of the Buddha, one completely exhausts all active delusions and their habitual propensities, and, passing through the 8 features of a Buddha's life, attains Buddhahood under a Bodhi tree. The distinct teaching. Question: which of the delusions in the 3 categories are severed in the Mahayana distinct teaching? Answer: those of this teaching utilize a gradual contemplation to overcome and sever the delusions in the 3 categories. Question: in what stage are the delusions in the 3 categories overcome, and in what stage are they severed? Answer: the deluded views and attitudes of the triple realm are overcome on the level of the 10 levels of faith. The deluded views are severed on the level of the first abode. Deluded attitudes are severed and extinguished from the 2nd to the 7th abode. The habitual propensities are severed from the 8th to the 10th abode. The minute delusions of the transworldly realm are removed on the next levels of practice. The delusions of ignorance are overcome by cultivating the contemplation of the middle through advancing to the 10 levels of merit transference. One is first enlightened concerning the middle path in the next 10 stages. The methods of attaining Buddhahood in the 100 realms are in these stages. Next, on the level of preliminary awakening, one further severs and removes 1 degree of ignorance, and the middle path is partially enlightened. Finally, upon advancing to the level of subtle awakening, one severs and removes 1 final degree of ignorance. This should be called the ultimate subtle awakening. The perfect teaching. Question: which delusions in the three categories are severed and removed in the one vehicle perfect teaching? Answer: those of this teaching sever delusions with wisdom from a non-gradual contemplation. This consists of 5 degrees and 52 levels. The 5 degrees refer to the ordinary person at a lower level. Therefore, severance of delusions is not discussed. Deluded views are severed at the first of the 10 levels of faith. Deluded attitudes are severed from the 2nd to the 7th levels of faith. The minute delusions of this realm, that is, the triple world and the transworldly realm, are severed from the 8th to the 10th levels of faith. Next, 10 degrees of ignorance are severed on the levels of the 10 abodes. In addition, the middle path is completely illumined, and the 8 features of the life of attaining Buddhahood begin at these levels. Next, 10 degrees of ignorance are severed and removed, and enlightenment concerning the complete middle path is attained on the 10 levels of practice. Next, the exhaustive extinguishing of 10 degrees of ignorance and attainment of the complete middle path is approached on the 10 levels of merit transference. Next, 10 degrees of ignorance are destroyed and extinguished, and the complete middle path is mastered on the levels of the 10 stages. One enters the level of the preliminary awakening upon further extinguishing 1 degree of ignorance. One climbs to the fruition of subtle awakening with the severance of 1 final degree of ignorance.